I'm actually going to record this, a little review on the mid-chapter test that we're having tomorrow, mid-chapter test. What are we going to have tomorrow? We're going to be adding and subtracting, multiplying, we're going to be classifying, we're going to have a lot of vocab. So let's just warm up right here. How about you guys, don't even write this down in your notebooks, just do it. What is 5x take away 7x? Don't say the answer, don't hit enter yet, but type it into the comments. And at the count of 3, we're going to all show our answer, okay? 1, 2, 3. Let's see, what do you guys got? Negative 2x, negative 2x, negative 2x. Absolutely, negative 2x. Ladies and gentlemen, all we're doing is combining like terms. It's like I have 5 of these dollars, I owe 7 of these dollars, so I can't pay you completely off, I still owe $2, right? It's combining like terms. All right, let's try this next one. Right here we have 3 terms. Out of those 3 terms, which ones could you combine? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, based on your answers, I need to reteach this real quickly. And you know what? I love wrong answers. Why? Because it lets me do my job. If everybody gets the right answer, then I'm already done. I move on to the next question. But if there's a couple of us that get it wrong, which some of us did, I need to explain it. I need to teach it. Here we go. So thank you for even posting the wrong answers, all right? We need to combine like terms. It says 3x minus 7. Those are not like terms. That's like saying I have 3 apples, I want to take away $7. What the heck? That doesn't make sense, right? They're not like terms. But I do have 3 apples right here, and I have 2 more apples over here. See, those are like terms. The 3x plus the 2x, that'll give me 5x. Notice exponents don't change, right? It's not a 5x squared. It's simply combining, imagine 3 of these little plastic x's plus 2 more of those little plastic x's will give you a total of 5 of those little plastic x's, right? What about the minus 7? Just bring it down, minus 7. And that's it, we're done. There's our answer, 5x minus 7. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take a moment and I want to ask you to classify this answer, 5x minus 7. I want you to classify it, give it a first and last name. Now, some of us don't have the vocabulary memorized. And because we're in this COVID situation, you don't have to have it memorized. You just have to have your notes available. So if you don't have these notes printed out, I would go to last week, on Monday, we had these notes posted. And in the middle of our notes, we have the classification. This right here is how you get your first name of the polynomial. And this right here is how you get your last name of the polynomial, okay? So the first name is based on the degree, which is the highest exponent, okay? First name is based on the degree, the highest exponent. Don't even worry about the degree 0, but the degree of 1 is linear, the degree of 2 is quadratic, degree 3 is cubic, degree 4 is quartic, okay? Again, if we were in class, you would actually have to memorize this, but you're at home and you could use your notes, might as well have this in your notes. Or at the very least, you know what you could do right now this second? You could take a screenshot of this. That way when you're taking the quiz tomorrow, you'll be able to have the first and the last name and how to classify, right? So the last name is based on the number of terms. What does that mean? If you only have 1 term, you have a monomial, 2 terms binomial, 3 terms trinomial, 4 or more polynomial, okay? So let's go back to the question that we just asked. That was the answer, and I asked you to classify that. Well, the first name is based on the degree, and it's the highest exponent. If you're like, wait, there is no exponent. Yeah, there is. There's an invisible 1 right there. So the degree is based on 1. So the first name is linear. Okay, linear. And you have 1, 2 terms, so that's a binomial. So linear binomial is the classification of this answer. Thank you so much, Santiago and Roberto, for participating and posting that on the comments. Thank you. All right, so we've been adding and subtracting. How about distributing? Could you guys distribute that 4 into that binomial? And in a couple of seconds, I will ask you to hit enter to share your answer on the comments. And I see that a lot of us have the correct answer. The correct answer is 4x minus 20. Good stuff. Let me show you how to do that. 4 times x. See, 4 times x, you just write it, 4x. Right? I mean, because 4x really means there's no sign between it. It really means 4 times x. So now distribute the 4 times the minus 5. 4 times negative 5, that's negative 20. and there's your answer, 4x minus 20. Again, that would be a linear binomial if you were to classify it. All right, so distributing a number into a binomial, it's pretty easy, right? How about distributing a variable into a binomial? Try that one. And right here on this one, you gotta remember that when you multiply x times x, you really do end up with x squared. So keep that in mind, all right? Okay, 3x squared plus 4x, 3x squared plus 4x, yep. A lot of us are getting that correct answer, 3x squared plus 4x. So let me explain it here. If you think what number is in front of this x, well, there's an invisible 1 right here. So it's kind of like saying the number, the coefficient 1, even though it's not there, coefficient 1 times the coefficient 3, that is 3. And then you go for the x's. What about the x times that x? So that'll be x squared, all right? So yeah, when you distribute it there, you end up with 3x squared. When you distribute it over here, think about this. You have the coefficient 1 times the positive 4. 1 times positive 4 is positive 4. But then you have the x times, there's no other x to multiply it by. So it's kind of like if you had a 1 right here. X times 1 is just x. So just put a x right there. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your answer. Okay, that's your answer right there. What if I asked you to classify this? What would the classification be? Anybody? In case you forgot, we have our notes right here. The first name is going to be based on the degree, the highest exponent, and the last name will be on how many terms you actually have. Could somebody type it in? Quadratic binomial is correct. Thank you very much, Angel, right? Quadratic, power of 2 is quadratic, degree 2, quadratic, and then how many terms are there? Remember, the pluses and the minuses are what separates the terms. You have 1 plus something else, so that's 2 terms. So quadratic binomial is the correct answer. Quadratic binomial. All righty. How about this guy? It's a little bit more challenging. We first distributed a number into a binomial. Now we distributed a variable into a binomial. Now we're distributing a monomial, which is a number with a variable, into that binomial. 4x times 3x minus 9. Distribute 4x times 3x, and then 4x times minus 9, and you will have your final answer there. It looks like we have a bunch of right answers there. 12x squared minus 36x, right? So again, we're going to distribute 4x times 3x. It's easy, just do the numbers. What's 4 times 3? It's 12. And then after that, what's x times x? It's x squared, okay? So you distribute it to the first one, now distribute to the second one over here. 4x squared times negative 9. Again, do the numbers. What's 4 times negative 9? It's negative 36. And then do the x's. Well, how many x's do you have? You only have one x. There's no more x's, so just bring that down. There you go. 12x squared minus 36x. Good stuff. All right, so it's okay, Robert, no problem. So we have added, we've subtracted, we've multiplied, we've distributed, but now let's do a binomial times a binomial. And again, this is like, it's the same thing, distribution, but you're gonna do one item at a time. So I would like ignore the minus 3, distribute the x, and then once I distribute the x, I would ignore the x and distribute the minus 3. And then after you distribute, you want to combine like terms, right? You want to combine the terms that are alike. So go ahead and do that. I am pausing for the sake of making the video a little shorter. Again, you want to distribute one at a time. I am going to distribute the x first. X times x is x squared. X times negative 7, just put them together, negative 7x. And then distribute the minus 3, right? You already distributed the x. Now you could technically like cover it up and distribute the minus 3, right? Minus 3 times x is a minus 3x, and then minus 3 times minus 7, a negative times a negative is a positive, and you get 21 right there. So all we need to do now after distributed property is combining like terms. So I'm going to combine this middle negative 7x with that middle negative 3x. Those are the only two terms that are alike. You owe 7, you owe 3, you're going to owe 10. You're going to owe 10 of those x's. What about the x squared? Bring it down. What about the 21? Bring it down. And that's what a lot of us got. X squared minus 10x plus 21. That's the correct answer. That would be classified as a quadratic trinomial. Quadratic because the power of 2 gives us quadratic, and trinomial because there was three terms, that's a trinomial. This one's fun. If you got this one, you got it. You got it all. You can do it. So I'll just work through this one, guys. Let's distribute this first one, 2x squared times that first x, right? So do the numbers first. Like there's no number in front of x. You could put an invisible 1 if you want. That way you could do 2 times 1 and you will get 2. And then do the x's. X squared times 1 more x is going to be a total of 3x's. So 2x to the third. Now distribute the 2x squared to the other term, the minus 4 right there. So you have a 2 times minus 4, that's a minus 8. And you have the x squared times how many more x's? There's no more x's, so just leave it x squared. And now distribute the plus 5 to the other two terms. Plus 5 times positive 1x. So positive 5 times positive 1 is positive 5 with an x. A positive 5 times a negative 4 is a negative 20. And out of those four terms, which ones could we combine? The answer is none of them. There is no terms you could combine. Even the middle terms are not alike. This is an x squared, that's an x. That's like saying I owe $8, but I have 5 bananas. Like what? That doesn't make sense. You cannot combine those. They're all different terms. This is a polynomial in standard form. Your degree is 3, highest exponent 2, 3, 2, 1, down to the constant at the very end. If I were to classify this, this would be classified as a cubic polynomial. Cubic because the degree is 3, polynomial because there's many terms. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you have a screenshot of this so you could actually classify them tomorrow on the test. I mean, it'd be better if you had it memorized, but if you don't, that's okay. Just have your notes ready. And this is from the final section where you have a binomial times what it appears to be the same binomial, except there's a sign change on the 5. The positive 5 is a negative 5 on the second binomial. So we should remember that truth that when you multiply a binomial a plus b times the binomial a minus b, the middle terms cancel out when you combine like terms. So watch this. We have 2x times 2x, that's 4x squared, right? 2 times 2 is 4, and x times x is x squared. 2x times negative 5, well, what's 2 times negative 5? It's negative 10. Put the x on there. And then distribute positive 5 times 2x, that's a positive 10 with an x, and positive 5 times negative 5 is negative 25. Now, when you combine like terms, you have x's on both the negative 10x and the positive 10x, so those are like terms. You could combine them, and as you could recognize them right here, they are complete opposites. You have a negative 10, you have a positive 10, they're opposites, they eliminate, they disappear. Final answer, 4x squared minus 25, and that's what we call a quadratic binomial, if you were to classify it. So this is all the simplification that we're doing on tomorrow's test. In addition to that, I mean, there's a binomial times a trinomial. If you wanted to, you could do something like that. So you'd have to distribute x times x squared, x times negative 3, x times 4, and then distribute 3 times x squared, 3 times negative 3, x, 3 times 4, and then you combine like terms. Should we do one of these or no? What do you think? Yes? Let's do one then. Okay, so you know what? I already wrote it. I already wrote some arrows. Might as well do it. So let's go back to the x. So I want to do it in red. X times x squared, that is x to the third. And then I go x times negative 3x, right? X times the middle term, negative 3x. That'll still be a negative 3x, but x times x is x squared. And then last but not least, x times 4, that's just going to be a 4x, a positive 4x. Now, when I distribute the positive 3, I could write my answer over here and get a huge polynomial and then combine the terms that are alike, or I could write it directly below to already get organized and prepared for combining like terms. Let me show you. 3 times x squared is positive 3x squared, and I will write that down here, positive 3x squared. Why am I writing it below the other x squared? Because those are the ones I have to combine anyway. And then if I go 3 times negative 3x, that'll give me a negative 9x, right? 3 times negative 3x, it'll give me a negative 9x. And I might as well write that right below the other x. The positive 4x, right below the positive 4x, I'm writing down the negative 9x. Okay, and then after that, 3 times 4 is 12, positive 12. And of course, there is no other number, so, but you align it this way instead of being over here. Like, let me actually visually show you guys. Imagine if this guy were over here. Let me make some space here. So, if it were over here, man, you'd have to combine this negative 3x squared with that negative 3x squared. They would eliminate, and then combine the 4x with the negative 9x. You get negative 5x. So it's easier if you write it below, like we did originally. So not to the side, you write it below. That way, it's really easy to combine. The x to the third comes down. The negative 3x and the positive, the negative 3x squared and the positive 3x squared, those eliminate. You get 0x squared. There's nothing there. The positive 4x and the negative 9x, the positive 4x and the negative 9x, that'll give you a negative 5x. And then you bring down the plus 12, and there's your answer. X to the third minus 5x plus 12, and that is a cubic trinomial, just to let you know. And that's pretty much all you're going to see on tomorrow's mid-chapter test, okay? So I hope we understand that. I do recommend going back and watching previous videos and also doing your homework and checking your answers. And if you get stuck on those homework answers that you can't get them right, watch the homework videos. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with this video.